Or maybe it was that he made sure his mother was taken care of, given that this was the last thing he did before we come to this moment on the cross. I propose to you this morning that there were three things that Jesus did before he died. The first thing Jesus did is Jesus started a social justice revolution. See, the ministry of Jesus went against traditional theologies, which were being used to establish categories, definitions, and sins that dehumanize and ostracize the non-elite. Jesus in his trial sermon told you what he was about. He said, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to proclaim gospel and news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom to the prisoners and recovery of sight to the blind, to set the oppressed free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." Jesus started a social justice revolution. He started one in healthcare when he healed the man in the temple, showing that healthcare should be universal, one. Two, healthcare should be available to those who need it, regardless of who they are, where they are, and what their status is in society. Jesus started a social justice revolution in the area of recovery when he went and healed the man in the cemetery. His mother said, when the demons come upon him, he goes and beats his head up with rocks. Y'all know what rocks are. We go use our modern day translation. He went out there when the demons came upon him in the cemetery. He went amongst the dead. He went where there was no life existing and beat himself in the head with rocks. Jesus took those demons out of him. He didn't go after the person, he went after the source. Jesus preached fair equity. The rich ruler went to him and he said, "What must I do to be saved?" Jesus told him. He said, "Well, yeah, I did all that. I did all you said do, but is there more?" He said, "You got more than what you need. Sell that stuff and give it to the poor. Give somebody else a chance to be where you are." Jesus met people where they were. Jesus dealt with people with everyday struggles. He met the man at the pool of Siloam who told him, he said, or rather the pool of Bethesda, he said, "Sir, I want to get in, but there's nobody to help me. Everybody walks past me all the time and they see, but I need help. They see I need picking up. They see I'm struggling to get there, but won't nobody help me. They tell me I need to pull myself up by my own bootstraps. Well, the problem is I don't have a horse, a saddle, or boots." Jesus met the man in his place of need. He said, "If you want to be healed, get up. Take up your bed and walk, brother, because you believe. Now let me help you." Jesus dealt with the 1%. When he gave the parables, one about the man whose crop came in plenteous and he kept building bigger barns, and other about Dives, who walked over the poor man all the time, walked over the poor man Lazarus all the time, act like he never saw him. Well, the man that kept building the barns, he brought his crop in and he said, "Well, I got plenty, and then some. Let me sit back, eat, and be merry." And the Lord came to him that night and said, "Thy food tonight, thy soul shall be required of thee. Then whose will these things be?" While I'm on that subject of helping, let me tell you, he talked about aid, public aid, people aid. When he told us to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, help shelter those who are homeless. He didn't say go to the government for aid. He told us to do it. Now, if the government helps, okay, but if we're able to help, we are supposed to do everything we can to help as part of Jesus' social justice revolution. And in his revolution, he dealt with the subject of racism. For he met the woman at the well and was trying to get water out of her, and she gave the excuse that, "I'm a Samaritan, you're a Jew. Jews don't have nothing to do with Samaritans." She made it a racial thing. She said, y'all don't deal with us. And Jesus had a discussion with him. By the time he got done talking to her, he was giving her some living water. It got her soul saved. Jesus dealt with justice for all. For there was a woman who was caught in the act of adultery. And they was ready to stone her, but Jesus came along and started writing in the sand. Because see, if she was caught in adultery, somebody was adultering with her. And when Jesus started writing everybody else's sins down, oh, they had to let her go. He that is without you, let him cast the first stone. Then he dealt with being social conscious. Because every time Jesus gave a parable, he said, he that hath an ear, let him hear. We have to be socially conscious about one another. Jesus dealt with the disinherited. He went down in the graveyard, raising the dead. He met the dead before they got there. Let's backtrack. A soldier came to him and said, my daughter's at home dead. Would you raise him? If he did that. There was a boy that they were taking on their way to the cemetery. He stopped them and he got him up off the bed that they were carrying on to the grave. Lazarus was in the dead 4 days and Jesus wouldn't get him up. What I'm saying is Jesus helped those.